past 15 years, Denmark's Lakrids by Bülow has been on a major mission to convert the world to loving licorice. We catch up with founder Johan Bülow regarding his aspirations for the company as it strives to make its mark on the international market. Launching a new line this summer, and with plans to expand with retail outlets around the world, these are busy times for the business. Firstly, he explains the inspiration behind his innovative enterprise.
Yeah, I think to start up with my childhood, I was super lucky that my mother told me to go out in the world and just do something that made me smile. And I think that was the very beginning of it. So, since the age of, I started out actually, to sell apples and cherries from my garden, just in front of my mother's house, at the age of 10. And already at the age of 14, I made a small kiosk, selling ice creams and pick and mix candy and stuff like that. So I got kind of a responsibility in a very young age, and I think my mother really tried to pour some water on that. So yeah, I was lucky to come from a family of entrepreneurs, and they told me to do something on my own, something that made me smile, and I think that was the very beginning. Then if we talk about the story of Lakrids, I was 21 when I got the idea. I used to work in a restaurant in Copenhagen. I had a flair for gourmet, and I got to work in a Michelin star restaurant in Copenhagen in a design hotel. And I was there for a couple of years, and quite fast I became the manager of the business. And while I did that, I met Sarah in that hotel. And I decided, 2 years later, that licorice was the one and only project in the world. And I got to that conclusion from going on a holiday on Bornholm, the small gourmet island, my childhood island. And I watched my uncle producing, he crafted hard candies or rocks in different colors in front of the tourists going into the island. And right there, I actually got the idea one summer. People are prepared to buy high quality hard candies because of the experience. I was quite sure that there was a market for licorice, because of the craftsmanship and the experience, but also because of the higher quality. If you sourced a different flour or a different local oil or so on, a better kind of licorice powder. So that was kind of the idea. Then I went back home and I Googled everything. I called the big industry for help. No one wanted to help. Seriously, I called almost all the big producers around Europe.
Wow.
And they were all like, the employees working on recipes like this is, they're not able to help you. So no. Then I went to my mother's kitchen. I started cooking in a 2-kilo pot with a wooden spoon in my hand. And that was the beginning of, the recipe development. So. And 15, 16 months later, we were able to open the first store on Bornholm, only 25 square meters, struggling for 16 months. And then the day we opened on the 7th of July, and the first day we opened 15 years ago on Bornholm, we sold everything, the entire store in 2 hours. We actually sold this almost the leftover licorice from the bottom of the pot. We sold it as well, and then we produced for the next 18 hours, and the day after we were sold out again, and then it was like that for the entire summer.
How does it feel to be at this point, 15 years on since its formation there? Could you have imagined that it progressed as much as it has over the past 15 years?
To be honest, yes. I think I had a dream about the business to become more than just a small seasonal business during the summer in Denmark. I think from the very beginning, I actually believed that this could be, kind of a big business for the years to come. And if if I turn back time a little bit and I look at old articles and so on, I've always been very, you know, comfortable in saying that yes, we're in the right direction, and you know the business is running great at this point, and we're improving, and hopefully within the two or three next years we are at, you know, this stage. So, and I'm still saying that hopefully this can become an international iconic business. In Denmark, we have companies like Bang & Olufsen and Lego and stuff like that. And I truly believe that if we do it the right way, nice and easy, and we focus on the brand and the products and the honesty, I think this could become a world iconic business in the confectionery industry. But we need to do it the right way and the honest way.
So can you recap on the connection with the UK company BCH there in terms of your equipment? It's a very special piece of equipment that you've had since the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. The true story is that I wrote an email, you know, 13, 14 years ago to BCH from my, you know, I wrote an email saying something like, "Hello, my name is Johan. I can't even remember the email, but it was so simple, you know. I'm looking for someone to produce the world's smallest licorice machine. Can you help me?" You know, it was something like that. And then the guy Matthew Cottam, his name was Matthew Cottam, actually wrote me back quite fast, and I went there. You know, 2 or 3 days later, I just took a plane to Manchester to meet up, and I visited the factory site, and the first thing I saw was this huge machine made for, I think it was Nestle or something like that, cooking, you know, 3.5 tons an hour. It was 100 meters long or something. And, you know, the thing I was there to produce was maybe 50 or 100 kilos an hour, something like that. So, but yeah, he was super sweet, and he showed me the entire business. He spent all day together with me. And in the end, we had a cup of tea, and I talked about this, you know, this small boutique on Bornholm doing, you know, hand making licorice. And I could see from his face that he was like, "I think we are a way too big a producer for you guys." But in the end, I think I convinced him to actually make, let's call it the world's smallest extruded licorice line in the world. And I convinced him to showcase it on the ISM 6-7 months later. And then I paid for the machine, obviously, and then I picked it up in Düsseldorf or in Cologne 7 months later. So we actually did that project together, and he was able to use the machine as a marketing tool. So that's the true story. You know, to begin with, he was like, "What is this 21-year-old boy doing from Denmark?" And in the end, I think we actually did quite a cool project together. He showcased the small machine on ISM.
Great, and it's still going. You've still got the machine with you now, is that right?
Yeah, still producing, running 24/7.
Awesome stuff. And just talking about the early days, your challenges in the first couple of years of starting up, you were saying that essentially the biggest challenge was actually devising the recipes. Is that right?
Yeah. You know, and that recipe development started in my mother's kitchen for a long period of time. Then we launched the products, and then the new product development began together with the BSH in Manchester. So we actually did some kind of recipe development together on that machine for 6 or 7 months, something like that. So there's quite a big difference from going from, you know, a stove in your mother's kitchen and to a real machine. So yeah, that was difficult as well.
Absolutely. And just coming to the present day, from what I've established, it seems to be the case that you've managed to weather the pandemic pretty well. It's been a tough couple of years for most people, but your company has done well from what you're saying.
We've moved in the direction of going more business to consumer. So we've strengthened our position in the market a lot on our e-commerce and on Amazon. So we've been really, really great in converting sales from wholesale and retail business into a direct-to-consumer e-commerce strategy, and that worked out really, really well. So yeah, we've been really proactive in that area.
Excellent stuff. And you've been expanding in terms of retail. You've got a number of stores, and
Can you tell me a little bit about your plans? I think you've got plans for UK stores coming up as well soon. Is that right?
Definitely, we're rolling out new retail stores in all main markets now. We have 28 stores today. We opened a pop-up store last week in Munich airport, a beautiful store actually. And hopefully late this year or in the beginning of the new year, we're opening up in London at Borough Yards. So UK coming up, hopefully together with a bunch of department stores as well. We call it concession stores, small stores and department stores, 20 square meters with their own staff.
There, it's your wife has played a very big part of the business. Can you explain about her role and what she does now, if that's okay? Thank you.
Definitely. I met Sarah many years ago, 18 years ago now, and she helped me out the first year with the business. So she was on Bornholm doing sales, and I was doing the hand-rolled production. Later on, she went to a fashion academy for some years, and then she had her own store for 2 years, a accessory and a shoe store in the center of Copenhagen. And then we had our daughter Eleanor 10 years ago, and she started to be, a full-time mommy in a good way. So she's taken care of the back office, and I think that is a very, very big part of the success, to be honest. That's I've been able to, to focus on the business and the back office with Sarah as, let's call it, the world's best mom. It's been working really, really great. So
just in terms of the company mission there, you're on a mission to make the world love licorice. So how successful do you believe that's been so far?
I think it's been successful. Obviously, you need to look at licorice. Sales today is 95% chocolate-coated licorice. So that's a success. If we look at the very salty part of our assortment, then it's difficult, obviously. But we're pushing for it, and let's see what happens in the future. But obviously, right now we're teaching or educating the world in chocolate-coated licorice, and that's kind of our category, I would say.
That's your big USP, the sort of thing that makes you stand out, isn't it? That's what you're known for, I think. So.
Yeah, definitely, and actually, for in the future, I think the potential biggest market to our business is the US market, and it is within colored licorice. So we are going to develop into other areas, other countries with different flavors and colors and stuff like that. So colored licorice is a $1.2 billion business, and we need to kind of operate in that area as well, I think. So we're also working right now on a solution to get balls out of our extruded licorice products instead of just small chunks like this. So we need a machine that actually helps us doing that. So that's kind of a big deal. I know it sounds a little silly, but it's kind of a big deal.
Stuff. But just as a final thing, Johan, in terms of your own passions, I believe sustainability is an issue that's really close to your heart. Can you explain how you apply that to the business? Thank you.
I think there are major things going on in the world. We've been focusing in a lot of different directions, and I think we're trying to improve just 0.5% every single day. We started out a couple of years ago doing 100% recycled and recyclable plastic in our jars. We are running on green energy. The entire factory is running on green energy, and we have so many different things going on at this point. And actually on Thursday, we are launching the biggest new assortment in the history of licorice, and that project's going to be seriously sustainable, or we're going to focus a lot on sustainability on that assortment. But that's taking everything one step deeper, I think, when it comes to sustainability.
Brilliant, but it sounds as if there's plenty of optimism and hope ahead. This year is looking good for you, would you say?
Yeah, I think we're growing the business, still, really driving revenue from the export markets, especially Germany is very, very strong for us at this point. Obviously, we have difficult times when it comes to supply on ingredients, machinery, and so on. But we're growing, and I think the world is still, loving licorice even more every single day at this point. So yeah.